I told Cody, and
Go
I
ahead.
told Dustin Rhodes too. I said, listen, buddy, I loved your daddy. I loved all of them. Me and him had more fuck you fights than you'd ever fucking know. I said, you don't know. And if you ever worked for Dusty, you know. I mean, the first time, this is when it really got me. And Robert don't even know this. You know, I go to the office. Dusty called me down to the office every Monday. And this is a great compliment, Dutch. And even I did a podcast for his granddaughter, and she told me, she said, I asked my grandpa, besides yourself, who's the greatest baby face in the world? And he says, above me, Ricky Morton. He said he was the greatest baby face because and this is what I was getting to, because he would call me down to the office every Monday because we do TV on Tuesdays. And he would set up an angle. And see, and a lot of guys don't understand this. When you're a booker and you have something in your mind and you look around, even though they're great workers, you can't make that son of a bitch understand what you want, what you really want out of this angle. You see what I'm saying? And I understood that. And Dusty liked me for that because I understood and see. And the only thing that was about was selling, was getting the angle over what the hell done to you and make the people believe what you're doing. You know, and I had that ability. And it wasn't that I just had, and see, that was for me when I rode down the road with guys like you and Ken Lucas. Okay. They made me understand that, you see, it wasn't nothing that I was better. But when I was a kid, I listened because I wanted that. My daddy telling me, said, my main event, brother, is just as good as main event. Sometimes you got a job, you see, and when you're over like that. But I never forget when we first shot the angle with the Midnight Express, and they had an A team and a B team. We were the B team, and Dick Murdoch got in trouble, and he had to be on the B team. But I'll get to that in a minute. But we were in Charlotte, North Carolina. We wrestled the Midnight Express, and the A team were in Baltimore, Maryland, Ric Flair, all them. See, Dick Murdoch, I think, wrestled George South, the semi-main event. That's what kind of card we had. You understand? I don't think the Kansas Jayhawks were there then.
Oh, we'd have been on that. We'd have been on that card with you, I'm sure. But
yeah,
continue.
But listen up. And in Baltimore, you know, they didn't draw nobody. You hear me? Now we're in Charlotte on a Sunday afternoon. Dusty calls me. He said, come down. You come down to the office today? He said, I want to talk to you about an angle. So, all right. But I go in there and I sit down in front of him, and Dutch, he looks at me and says, son, I know you're in the wrestling business, but you got to understand one thing. He said, it's rules that you got to learn for yourself, and you'll learn along the way. I said, what's that, Dusty? He said, you never sell out a fucking arena when I'm not on it.
Yeah. I've heard that. I've heard that story.
Yeah. You never sell out an arena when I'm not on the card. But then it was just natural. But I'm telling you, he had Mick Dirt on that, and we're doing the TV, and he goes, and Mick Murdoch. Guys out there, any of y'all ever didn't meet Dick Murdoch, I feel sorry for. He was the funniest, greatest individual. Work his ass off. I mean,
and do nothing and have the people falling out of their seats. I saw him one night. He took an arm drag. I swear to God, the people went nuts. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, why are they going? Because of the way he sold it. He was still selling it 5 minutes later, grabbing his back. Oh my God, getting mad at the people.
And that'll be another story to tell you why in a minute. But Dusty, we was here, and Dusty looks at Murdoch and said, hey, did you learn your lesson yet? He said, what are you talking about? He said, are you ready to come back to the A team? And Murdoch goes, well, hell no, I'll make more money on the B team.